All right, welcome everyone to a very special episode of the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. We have Kute Blackson with us. He is the author of a national best-selling book, You Are the One. He is widely considered the next generation leader in the field of personal development by everyone ranging from Larry King, Jack Canfield, Marianne Williamson, and more. He's been featured on Larry King Now, Fox and Friends, Dr. Drew, as well as Inc. magazine. And he recently received a Walden Award in the New Thought Wisdom category that Unity honors once a year to recognize socially conscious leaders who are making the world a better place. He is an incredible guest that we are lucky to have today, a charismatic, visionary, and transformational teacher. He offers a fresh, bold look at spiritual awareness for a whole new generation. Born in Ghana, West Africa, his multicultural upbringing as the child of a Japanese mother and Ghanaian father has spawned 4 different continents. Wow. And he has been inspiring audiences around the world. He spoke to 3,000 people at the age of 8, which I actually want to hear about that. How did that happen? And he has been helping organizations develop authentic leadership and achieve extraordinary performance over the last decade. All right, without further ado, welcome to the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today.
Thanks for having me. It's always good to be here.
Yay. How did you speak to 3,000 people at age 8? What happened?
My father is a minister, and he's considered, just a little context, that, I grew up seeing blind people see and deaf people hear. And like my first
Mm,
memory as a young boy was literally seeing a crippled woman crawling on the floor. She picks up this, and I'm lost in the crowd. There's thousands of people around. She picks up the sand that this man walks on, wipes it on her face, and stands up. And so
wow.
week after week, I grew up seeing these miracles. He'd look at a woman in a wheelchair, stand up, look at a woman or a man who was blind and put his hands on them and they would see it. So he had 300 churches, is the kind of context
Mm,
in Ghana, West Africa. He had a huge church in London, about 5,000 people every Sunday. And so, as a 7, 8 year old kid, I had no interest in going to church. I just wanted to play soccer and
yeah.
get into trouble with my friends. So I'd be outside causing problems, making noise, and embarrassing everyone, breaking glasses and doors. And so one day, basically, they just grabbed me, put me on the front row, and for a few months, I was so bored, and I would be sleeping in the middle of the service,
Mm.
snoring. All of a sudden, one day I'm sleeping on the front row. Someone nudges me and says, "Your father wants you to give the sermon and go speak." I'm literally half asleep. I get thrown on stage. I'm walking up on stage and I'm kind of opening my eyes. And I don't know what happened. There was about 5,000 people in the audience that day. And as an 8 year old boy, it was like something came through me that I could not explain. It was almost as though
Mm,
as I stood there, I tapped into what I was born for. I tapped into something that was beyond me, and words started coming out of my mouth that was beyond my own sort
mm,
of human level 8 year old experience. I started saying things, people were touched, people started crying, people started having certain experiences, and I couldn't explain it. It just happened. And
mm.
then that's kind of where it started, and that's where my journey began. So that was age 8. But I always started to get very, from that moment, like obsessed with just trying to understand, like, who,
Yeah.
who am I and what's the purpose of life? And,
Mm.
where do we come from? And why do some people have
Yes.
everything seem to be miserable? And why do some people have nothing seem to be happy? And so
Yes.
I started reading books and spiritual books, meditation books, Western
Yes.
psychology, pop psychology, everyone from Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra's of the
Yes.
world, to the Eastern mystics, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, Krishnamurti, Osho.
Mm.
And I started meditating at
Mm.
a very young age. And when I was
Mm.
14, I was ordained as a minister. And
Wow.
that was a whole nother conversation we can have. But I was ordained as a minister by my father, given the mandate to take over his
Wow.
spiritual organization. But I knew, it's strange. I knew when that happened that I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to make a
Mm-hmm.
difference in people's lives, but I knew that that wasn't my purpose to do it
Mm.
the way my father was doing it,
Using
but
that vehicle.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was just, but I was too afraid as a 14-year-old boy to like face my father and have the conversation, because honestly, I was afraid, like, talk about being vulnerable. I was afraid, like, if I told him, Dad, I don't want to do this, he wouldn't love me anymore, that I would be outcast,
Mm.
that I would be alone, that I would lose
Mm-hmm.
my father, I'd lose everybody that I knew in the community. And so I was terrified. And so I kind of, you know, went along with it, but it didn't feel
Yeah.
wrong, but it didn't feel right.
Mm.
And so I went along with it for 4 years and became a minister and started speaking and teaching and being responsible for people. And that's kind of opened up a whole nother journey.
Wow.
I left everything when I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that takes a lot of inner trust, right? And real connection to yourself and knowing what you really wanted to be able to take that risk. That's a great story.
Yeah, when I was 18, I always knew. I think there's a part of us deep
Mm-hmm.
down that knows.
Yes.
We know the truth in our hearts. We
Yep.
can bullshit ourselves. We can pretend. We can deny. We can distract. Sometimes we play this game of confusion, like, oh, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure. I'm confused. I don't know if this is the right relationship for me. I don't know if I'm supposed to be do. I
Yeah.
don't know what my purpose is. But deep down, we know. I
We
mean,
know.
I look back on, let's say, experiences. I mean, even folks listening in, if they've been in a relationship, and maybe you look back years ago, you remember the relationship you were in the past, and you were asking your friends, should I stay? Should I go? What should I
Mm.
do? I'm not sure. Something's not feeling quite right. But the moment you broke up with that person, the moment you told your friend, I knew that was never going to work. I just knew it. So there's a part of us deep
Mm-hmm.
down, if we're willing to be honest, that
Mm-hmm.
knows the truth. But we are often afraid of the consequences of what
Mm-hmm.
will happen if we really acknowledge our truth. And so for me, it took me 4 years till I was 18. What happened was I looked into my future and I saw two paths. I saw the expected path of the life my father laid out for me and what everyone else expected of me that I was trying to fit myself into. And then I looked into that path and I saw I might be successful by everyone else's standards. But if I didn't have myself, if I didn't have my truth, if I couldn't look myself in the mirror, when I looked down that path, I literally felt like I was dying. And I knew
Ooh.
that wasn't right. And I had to acknowledge, like, you cannot really be happy living someone else's life. You cannot really be happy
Yes.
being someone that you're not, no matter how great the life is. And then I looked down at the other path, and my soul was calling me in a totally different direction. The
Yep.
thing is, I didn't know what direction that was. It's one
Mm-hmm.
thing when you have clarity, and sometimes there's this idea that you have to know where you're going to
Mm.
and you have to have your life kind of a vision and
Mm-hmm.
everything mapped up. I actually don't believe it's true. I think there's a part of us that has an intelligence that actually knows, and we have to have the courage to be vulnerable, to actually
Mm-hmm.
embrace the unknown, to embrace the not known. And I think the degree to which we're willing to embrace not knowing, which is terrifying and is scary, is
Yes.
the degree to which I think we're free. So I was guided in a
Yeah.
direction that I had literally no idea. And that's when I had the conversation with my father and I said, I love you, but I'm not taking over. And it was vulnerable and it was scary and it was terrifying. And
Wow.
we didn't speak for 2 years and it was really
Mm.
difficult, a really difficult time.
Wow. Wow. I can so
Yeah.
relate to your story when I was finishing up my doctorate, which, was very like, okay, that's
Wow.
the path. We
Yes.
know what that looks like. And I was in private practice, of, clinical
Wow.
psychologist. And I was offered a position at a hospital that paid
Wow.
really well. It was like 100K a year, benefits,
Wow.
very, very secure, right? And I knew though, like when I tuned in to that option, I felt part of myself dying, just as you said. Like I felt
Yeah.
some of the passion dying. I
Yes.
imagined that hamster wheel of, getting up and doing kind of the same thing every day. And so I chose to start my coaching business and be my own boss and go down this path and create this podcast. And help all these amazing women that I'm currently helping. And I
Amazing. Yeah.
it honestly breaks my heart to think about the version of me that would have chose that other option.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
many people are, right? They're choosing the stability, they're choosing the traditional path or what they're
You know,
supposed to do.
one of the things that I think keeps us stuck that I had to acknowledge, but one of the things that I see keeps us stuck are all from really shifting our lives, from really being fulfilled, are all the ways we end up lying to ourselves,
Mhm.
all the untruths we tell ourselves. And so I would just invite everyone listening, to me, being happy, being fulfilled actually isn't hard. It's actually quite simple. It's really simple. Feel the truth, tell the truth, live the truth,
Mm.
express the truth. It's not that difficult, but it's not always easy because we're afraid. And so I would just invite everyone to really sit with a few questions. Number one, like, what lies am I telling myself? Where am I lying to myself? What am I
Mm.
lying to myself about? And some
Mhm.
people might say, well, how do I know if I'm lying? How do I maybe I've been lying to myself so much that I don't even know it's a lie anymore. And I would say, really look at in your life, look at where you experience consistent pain. Often where you have pain in your life consistently, pain in relationships, pain in a certain situation, pain can often show you where you might be living less than your authenticity. We often think
Mhm.
pain is bad and we try to get rid of pain, drink it
Mhm.
away, sex it away, shop it away, work it away, social media it away. But I think pain in and of itself is neutral. It's a messenger. It's actually a gift that is can point us to where we're not being authentic, that can start if we're willing to acknowledge the message of the pain,
Mhm.
can help course correct us to go, wow, where am I not being true? So look at the question, what lies am I telling myself? And look at where there's pain. Look at also the willingness to sit with what are the lies that I'm telling myself costing me? Because
Yes,
when we tell lies, it costs us,
it
and
does.
it usually costs us a lot. And sometimes
Yes.
it's actually painful, but we're not willing many times to feel the pain of what it costs us because we're afraid if we feel the pain, we
Yeah.
might actually have to make a shift. Like, oh,
Mhm.
if I really acknowledge that this relationship is not right, or I'm no longer in love, or it's no longer aligned for me,
Yes.
I might have to do something about it. So if I just
Right.
don't feel the pain and I distract myself, then I can kind of keep going. And so I think
Mhm.
one of the keys we have to do is be willing to be honest with the pain of what we're feeling based on the cost of living the lie, and really like
Yes.
sit with that and use that
Absolutely.
as an energy, not to like wallow in it, but use that as an energy and impetus to make a shift and bring ourselves
Mhm.
more into alignment. And so I think if we're willing to tell the truth and feel the truth and live the truth and be courageous in that, our life would transform.
Absolutely. I love this so much. You have to be willing to feel into that pain right
Yes.
now so that you can avoid all of that future
The
suffering,
future
right?
suffering.
Pain
Yes.
is transformational, but then suffering is when we sit in that pain and we don't
Yep.
let it transform us. So I
Yep.
agree 1000% with everything you said. I actually, when I work with women, I have an exercise that I call, is this serving you?
Mm.
And I have them look at their current lies, and then I have them picture their life, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, still holding on to those lies, and I allow them to sit in that pain. And that is some motivation right there, Pain is motivating when we allow
Pain,
ourselves
pain,
to feel
pain
into it.
is pain is a gift. We've just been conditioned that pain is bad, something's wrong. Actually, many times when we feel the pain, it's not that anything is wrong. It's
Mm.
actually a sign that a part of us is working correctly. We're healthy because if we
Yes.
do things that go against our integrity, if we betray ourselves, if we stay in toxic situations, if we're not living our truth, pain is the natural byproduct of not living in alignment. Like if you do something that is not right for you and you feel great about it, something
Mhm.
is really off. So the fact that we feel pain is a sign of our own health. The challenge is where it gets difficult is When we don't listen to the pain and we continue and we continue, then the pain grows and the pain grows and the pain grows and the pain grows. And then we get a disease, we get sick, we go crazy, we start feeling depressed. All these are signs that we just haven't dealt with something at a deeper level, and course corrected our life. So I think pain is an absolute gift if we're willing to have the courage to acknowledge it, to face it, to feel it, and to use it as a signpost to make some of the changes in our life. So I would invite people to sit with, what is the pain I'm feeling trying to tell me? What is the message? What is the signal? And what are some ways what are some things I need to let go of? Are there any people I need to let go of? What are some things I'm not acknowledging that I really need to acknowledge? And I think if we're willing to do that, we can start realigning our life. And that's the key. It's a really key.
Absolutely.
It's not always convenient. Right?
Absolutely.
But I think if we're willing, we have to be willing to not do what's convenient in the moment, because usually when we do what's convenient in the long run, it ends up inconvenient. It ends up more painful.
Isn't that just true for every single area? Everything in life. If we think about the food that we ingest in our bodies, right? If we're doing the thing that's just easy and convenient, a lot of times it's not the thing that
if you do
really
the easy thing now, I often say, if you take the easy path now, it will be hard later on.
Yes.
So you have to have the courage to do what is, in quotation marks, sometimes a little harder now, so it can be easier later on. And
Absolutely.
So I think life is, in that sense, simple, but we complicate it because we don't listen to our truth. I mean, how many times have maybe folks listening in, maybe you can relate, I know I can relate, when you meet someone, let's say for the first time, and your gut, everything inside of you says, stay away, right? The whole your intuition says, don't go there, don't go, stay alert, stay away. And somehow you end up in a relationship with that person, but you knew. And so we have to, I think, stop kind of second guessing ourselves and questioning that deeper intuition of knowing, because sometimes the wisdom of our being guides us in very subtle ways. It's not always a loud voice. It can sometimes be a feeling like something's off here, something's off here. And we ignore it. Sometimes we ignore it with like, no, I should be more compassionate. I should be more spiritual. I should be more kind. But like, something's off here. So I think the more we can just listen to that and align with that subtle sense of knowing inside of us, the more we can kind of move forward and create an authentic life. So
I love that. It's so true. I know I've been guilty of that, meeting someone and thinking, oh, just give it time. But I had the gut feeling up front, and I feel like I'm talking with you at the perfect time, and this is how the universe works, right? One thing I've been really focused on in my own spiritual practice is getting into this place of allowing and tuning into the wisdom beyond my own understanding, right? And
nice.
I know for all of us that may look different. We all have different spiritual practices. But for me, the confidence, the trust of myself, and also the trust of the universe that comes from that practice, it helps me show up in my day-to-day and be drawn to the things that are meant for me, right? Instead of trying to force different things or compare, right? I know we live in a culture of comparison.
Totally.
But when you can step into that energy of trust of yourself and trust of the universe, you are so much more relaxed, and you're inviting into your life what's really meant for you. Relationships and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For you, when you think about that practice of tuning in to you and tuning into a higher power, what are the ways that you've developed the habit of doing that? Is it like a daily morning routine, or what does it look like for you to do that consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think it's necessarily like one 5-step formula thing I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I meditate and meditate, pray, take time, journaling,
Yes.
just to kind of listen. But I think it's always great to, sometimes we're so busy with our lives, running, that it's so externally focused outside job, work, kids, family, person out there, social media, that we're so focused out here that our attention doesn't turn inwards to really listen to the actual wisdom that is actually in here. Sometimes we don't do that because we don't want to hear the wisdom that's actually in here, right? And
Right.
so we keep out here because we know, oh, if I actually become still, I might hear the truth that this relationship is not right for me, or this situation is not right for me, or I need to leave my job. And so because we're afraid of that, sometimes we intentionally stay focused out here. So one thing for me that I would invite everyone to do, that is really important for me, is to really make sure that there is the space in your life, and that space could be half an hour, that space could be an hour, where you're not in constant activity, externally focused, where you have the time to sit, be, breathe, and just listen without agenda. It's not like, oh, I got like 8 minutes, I have to do it in 8 minutes. But when you have a little spaciousness in your life, and the spaces in your life to actually tune in and listen, many times the wisdom, the connection, the knowing can become more conscious to us. So I take time to meditate. I take time often in the evenings to just, before I go to sleep, to just journal, to just tune in, to sit for 30 minutes and just do nothing, and just be, and not have to like
Yes.
run around. And that's, I think, is really helpful. One thing too, I think if people are having a hard time, like, how do I trust the universe? How do I trust? I would say, look, how can we not trust? If we really look at it, how can we not trust? Okay, I'd like everyone, just like, if you're looking for proof that the universe, or you can trust the universe, just look at your body, just look at your breath, just look at your actual biological, physiological mechanism. Every single day, it is living proof that there is you don't have to be spiritual, Christian, Buddhist, anything. You don't have to do yoga. You don't even have to meditate. Just look at the nature of what is, reality of what is. Let's not project into some woo-woo fourth dimension. Look at this physical structure and go, huh, something is happening.
Yes.
There is breath happening inside of this body. What is breathing me? What is functioning, this mechanism? You and I, we ate food this morning or this afternoon or this evening, and we ate a piece of fish or we ate a kale salad, and somehow we ingested this thing. And how is it that my hand didn't become a kale or a banana or a fish? Like, there is an intelligence inside of this body that is breathing us, functioning us, coordinating, digesting our food, turning it into all sorts of processes, that is looking out of these eyes and able to process colors, and trillions of processes that are happening all simultaneously while walking, eating, shitting, sleeping, speaking, functioning in our
Yes.
brain. All of these things are happening. Like, wait a second. And you and I are not sitting here going, oh my God, how do I trust that I'm going to breathe? Wait, it's just happening. How do I trust
Yes.
that the granola I ate for breakfast, oh my God, will it digest? What happens if it doesn't digest? It's just happening in
Yeah.
spite of us. And I think if we can bring our attention to the reality of what is, of what actually is happening right now, it starts shifting the relationship, because this is proof that there is an intelligence, that we're being breathed by life. That's one. Then if you just look out at nature, nature is also a living proof. Like, trees are growing, plants are growing. I went and I was in Tulum, where I have a house, and I was seeing these honeybees, how these Melipona honeybees make their hives, and like thousands and thousands of bees they just know exactly what to do and how to make the honeycomb and the bee, and they go to the flower, they get the nectar, they take it. I'm like, how do they know? They don't go to a
Yes.
seminar. They don't listen to a podcast and go to a seminar on
Yes.
how to make the pollen and how to make the honey. It's an
They know.
intelligence.
Yeah.
Yet somehow you and I, we've become conditioned to like disconnect from the innateness that we are also a part of the larger tapestry of nature itself. We are a part of nature. We've just lost touch with the fact that we are part of this nature. Every day the sun shines. Is there ever a day? Is there ever a day that you woke up, right? Or I woke up and we're like, holy shit, what? Where is the sun? But like the sun forgot to come out that day. It never happens. So
Right.
every day we have so much proof of the love of the universe, of the consistency of the universe, of the grace of the universe, of the reality of the universe, that like we kind of like don't pay attention to, because like we're running around like, trying to post on Facebook,
Totally. We tune
or
out. We
we tune out.
disconnect.
So I would say,
Yeah. Look
look
around.
around at
Yeah.
the reality of life, take it in,
Mm.
breathe it in, be in gratitude for that, and tune into your own body. Like if you cut your finger,
Mm.
your body knows exactly how to heal
How to
itself,
heal it. Yeah,
how to heal
exactly.
itself. And so
Tune
when
into
we
yourself.
tune
Yeah.
into that intelligence, this is key. This is how
I
we can
love that.
cultivate more trust. And then each time we tune into that, then we listen, then we take an action in a direction that is trusting, then the trust grows. And then we keep taking another action, the trust grows, and we keep taking another action. So
Yes.
one thing I do is I've learned to I've learned to not question the deeper intuition that I feel now. Something says, drive here. I mean, unless it's like crazy, right? But drive to that place. I'll just kind of listen. Go here. I'll kind of
Yes.
listen. Fly to Miami. I'll kind of go there and just show up. And so more and more I've done that, the more and more I've seen like amazing things happen that I could not have planned with my mind. So the more we do that, the more the trust grows, the more the universe shows us and reveals itself and reinforces to us its
Yes.
magic.
Absolutely. Ooh, I love this so much. I love it. And I feel like this is a wonderful time also as we're, going into this new year. And
Yeah.
these are lessons we really want to take with us. So I want to shift gears just a little bit and talk
Oh,
about your best-selling book, You Are the One,
go.
because I want to hear kind of how some of those lessons can relate to having your own high self-worth kind of as you're trying to attract a partner, like talk to me about that.
What's that's a big
I
question.
know, right? It is.
So like what part specific, just so I can serve,
Yeah.
what part specifically around that we want to talk about, the partner part, the relationship part, like self-worth part, that like tell me which part you want.
Yeah. One thing I think people come to me with is like, "Oh, just teach me how to date." Like, just give me the tips and the
uh,
strategies and da 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 da, like
the
just
five keys, right?
right. They want that. But you and I know that it's so much more of an internal game. So I'd love to hear your take on,
Take, sure.
yeah, like what is the internal work before you're
Yeah, yeah,
allowing keyword
yeah.
that partner into your life.
I think many times we are seeking someone outside of ourselves, and we're seeking love outside of ourselves. And what I
Hmm.
tell people is, stop seeking the love outside of yourself and instead become the person. So stop seeking the person, become the person, who is loving, and realize that it essentially, you are what you are is love. When you realize that what you are is love and you stop seeking it outside, and you be that in your life
Mm.
as you are right now, you start vibrating at a certain frequency level that becomes like, when you are being loving, you become incredibly attractive to people. When you become loving
Yes.
and you know that you're love, and not coming from like, I need love, I need you, please love me. Like, where can I, then you, just like a flower, you start radiating and
Yes.
you become attractive. So realize the love that you are, become the love that you are, express the love that you are, and rather than seeking it, cultivate a life right now, even if you're not in a relationship, that is fulfilling, that is joy filled, that is alive, that is, totally fulfilled within yourself, where you're not waiting
Mm.
for someone to show up to love them. You are loving as fully as you can right now, because likely the kind of person that you want is not asking for someone who's waiting to love. They want to be with someone who is already whole, complete, and loving.
Mm.
And so stop waiting, love fully right now, cultivate your life. That's one thing I'd say. About relationship, to be a bit more specific. To me, relationship is a mirror. You attract to you in relationship someone who is vibrating at a similar level as you, someone who is vibrating a similar level as you, and someone who you maybe in their soul have certain lessons to teach each other in this particular moment in time. And so your soul and their soul have attracted each other into each other's experience in this moment because there's some lessons that your soul and their soul have for each other in this moment. And so relationship is a mirror. You attract to your person who is a mirror manifestation of some aspect of yourself. You attract to you some person who's a mirror manifestation of an aspect of yourself that you need to heal, integrate, make peace with, release, let go of, learn about, accept. They're reflecting something to you about yourself that you need to do something with so essentially what I'm saying is the other person, there really is no one out there. There really is no relationship out there. There really is no other out there. The other person that you've attracted into relationship, romantic relationship, is really a manifestation of yourself. They are a part of yourself projected out there that you get to. So in a sense, relationship can be an incredible mirror feedback mechanism to show you where you are at in your own consciousness. And the mirror doesn't lie. It's like, no, Kute, that's not me. Well, if that wasn't some aspect of you, I'm not saying it's all of you, but if that person wasn't showing you some aspect of yourself, you would not have attracted them. You would not have gone into relationship with them. It's like getting on a scale, right? And weighing yourself. The weighing machine is very impartial. It says, you weigh 150 pounds. Well, no, I don't. It doesn't lie. You weigh 140 pounds.
Yes.
It doesn't lie. So the projection in the mirror doesn't lie. And so relationships are a great mechanism that show you where you are at in your consciousness, what you need to heal, deal with, make peace with, embrace, and integrate, and where your learning growth opportunities are. So if we really understand that, it's profound. So the question I would ask people is, if you look at the people that you're attracting in your life, dating-wise, relationship-wise, here's the question, and you know it's coming, right? The question is, if you look at the people you're attracting, Kute, how comes I keep attracting people that cheat on me or don't honor me or don't want to commit to me or just keep going? If you look at the people you're attracting in your life, what does that reveal to you or show you about yourself? And do you like what you see? Because if you don't like what you see, there's no you. This is what most of us do. There's no good men out there. There's no good people out there. There's no this out there. There's no that out there. But the mirror doesn't lie. And if you really get that it's a mirror, then you can take responsibility.
Yes, take responsibility.
And really go, wow, if this is what keeps showing up and this is what it's showing me, what do I need to heal, shift, and transform within myself?
Yes.
Maybe I need to heal my own. Maybe if I keep attracting people that either betray me, how do I betray myself? If I keep attracting men that don't want to commit to me, where am I not committed to myself? And if we can then go, okay, let me heal this within myself. Let me heal this pattern within myself. Let me heal this aspect within myself. And as we do that, and as we shift our own internal relationship, love ourselves, honor ourselves, really get who we are, what we are, the value that we have, our own self-worth, self-acceptance, If we don't accept ourselves, we're likely to attract people into our lives that maybe don't accept us, right?
Yes.
Or we might attract people that accept us, but we won't be able to accept the love they're giving us because we don't feel like, what's wrong with them? Don't they see how messed up I am?
We'll push them away.
We'll push them away. And so if we're able to truly heal ourselves through compassion, through exploration, through therapy, through loving, through spiritual practice, and really shift those patterns, then we begin to attract people that begin to mirror where we're at. We also start becoming attracted to people that are more able to, like the people we used to be attracted to that maybe didn't want honoring or didn't respect us. we're no longer attracted to them anymore because we've
Exactly.
shifted the dynamic within ourselves. So it's not, I tell people, don't even worry about, the dating techniques and this and that, and
Yes.
just focus on becoming the right person,
Yes.
becoming the conscious, alive, vibrant person. When you really focus on that, you will vibrate at a certain level, and then the right person will kind of be attracted to you wherever you are doing what you're doing. you
Yes.
won't you won't have to chase it, you won't have to seek it.
Absolutely.
It will come to you as an
Yes.
internal reflection of yourself.
I love this so much. I agree. And this is exactly what I do in my program. I help women do this internal work, and it is
It's all
just
about the
so
internal work.
powerful. And I love that at the end of the program, they're usually having these experiences that they've never had in relationships
Yeah,
where, wow, the person is emotionally available. Wow, they want to show up with me, and they're interested, and they're giving, and all of these experiences that they never had before.
yeah.
It's all available to you, but it starts with you.
It's inside. And
It's
I
inside.
think it's important, you're doing such important work because that is the core. That is the core. It starts inside. The other thing I think it's important to remember in relationship is you attract someone who you're vibrational match with. You attract someone who you have maybe certain karma with, a soul agreement with. You attract someone who perhaps you have certain
Mm,
lessons to grow through and work
mm-hmm.
through together. So for me, if you really understand that the real purpose of relationship, we sometimes think that the purpose of relationship, have fun, have a good time, great sex, movies, chocolates, roses, romance. It's all great. I hope we have lots of that. It's fantastic. But I think the ultimate real purpose of relationship is to grow and evolve, to
Mm-hmm.
learn the lessons for why we attracted that person, to become more of who we really are, and to express the fullest degree of our own loving. So really the real purpose
Yes.
of relationship is evolution. It's our
Yes.
soul's evolution. That's the bottom line. Whether we stay with someone for one date, whether it lasts
Yes.
one evening, a week, a month, 10 months, 10 years, a lifetime, the real purpose of relationship is, am I evolving? Am I growing? Am I
Yes.
learning? Are we learning together? And am I becoming more of who I am and more loving? That's the purpose. And so I think when we
Mm-hmm.
understand that, then in relationship, when issues come up with your partner, because even the best of relationship, there's going to be issues. Shit's going to come up. Stuff's going to get triggered.
Yes.
That's inevitable. Even with the best person, when you understand the purpose, when stuff gets triggered, it's not like there's anything wrong. When you understand the purpose, you can be conscious about it to go through the
Mm.
triggerings that are coming up with conscious awareness to hold each other with a space of compassion as you and your partner work through the stuff that's
Mm.
coming up as healing. Then it's like, wow, isn't it exciting my jealousy's here? Isn't it exciting that my abandonment patterns are here? Wow. And then we can hold each
Yes.
other through that to the deeper level of healing.
I'm having this moment of course, I have attracted you to this podcast because I have literally been talking about those same themes lately. So thank you
Amazing.
for backing me up. I,
Amazing.
I I actually did an episode recently that was called "Conflict is Growth." Right.
uh,
So it's that same idea that it's just this opportunity to grow together.
yeah, yeah.
So wonderful. And I just have to tell you, I have to admit, I haven't read your book yet, but I'm going to. And I'm so excited to read it.
All is forgiven.
Okay, thank you. And I actually have a selfish question for you while
Yeah,
I
go
have
for
you.
it, please. Let's do it.
I'm in the process of writing my first book right
Awesome.
now.
Congrats.
Thank you. And it's a lot about this, the internal work, and how to totally rewire your relationship with yourself and how you go
Yes.
about finding your person. Um, what are your tips for writing a book? How can I do this and get it out there? What was it that worked for you when you were in the process of writing yours?
Okay. The writing, firstly you're asking about the writing part, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll be honest. I wrote You Are the One, became a best-selling book. My new book's coming out next year. So now I've written 2 books, and
Amazing.
I hate writing books.
Oh my gosh, the honesty.
I'm a partial writer, right? But I'm a speaker. I'm an orator. I'm a content
Yes.
speaker.
I've been
But
running into that. I'm like, I'd rather
but
just speak this.
I'll be honest. I hate writing books, and I
Okay.
had this romantic notion in my mind. Like you see the Hemingway and the
Yes,
writers,
I
and they sit
know.
there, and then I hear all my friends that, yes, cool, I'm going to Bali, and I'm going to go write in a hut overlooking. And so, I have this romantic idea. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to write overlooking the
Yeah.
mountain, and
That's
God's word is going to descend through
yeah,
me.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and so I went many years ago and I tried this. I rented a beautiful hut in the middle of Bali
Oh my
with no one
gosh.
around in a valley. It couldn't have been more romantic and idyllic. And I sat there and was miserable, felt like torture and hell for like 8 days. Okay. I got some writing down, but I thought to myself, this is not my natural flow. This is not my
Yes.
natural nature. This is not how I want to write. And if reality is really my creation and I can create my reality based on my interpretation and choice I make and what I choose to make things mean, then why don't I reframe and recreate my experience of writing? So rather than trying
Mm,
to fit myself into some preset idea of what some other writer does or what another great
yeah.
writer is, let me go, okay, who am I? What is my nature? And how can I write in a way that's according to my nature? So, this might help you and those listening. What I
Mm,
decided to do was rather than sit there and try and be some like Hemingway of a writer, right? I decided, like, I'm a speaker. And so I did it a couple of ways. Firstly, I brainstormed, jotted down all of my ideas on a piece of on in a journal. So it was
mm-hmm.
messy. It was all over the place. It wasn't neatly typed in a manuscript. It was just like boom. I got my ideas out. Then
Yes.
I went and took all of my blogs and information and stories and content I put out
Mm,
there and put that together. Now I had 2 pieces. Then I kind of formulated different chapters. Then I decided I was going to speak like I'm doing to you now, right?
wow.
Speak the book into audio format and at least get out all of my concepts. This way,
Wow.
everything would come out. And I decided when I sat down to write or speak, it didn't matter if I sucked. It didn't have to be like amazing.
Yes,
I just
drop.
needed to get it. I just needed to get it out. So what I did was
Mm,
I spoke onto audio all of my thoughts,
mm.
all of my ideas,
Wow.
and got everything. And so now I had this huge body of content. Then I took this content and I gave my permission to totally suck and I chiseled it down into some kind of like manuscript, if you could call it that, that was at least on paper with some of the key concepts and ideas.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how I finally at least got an initial draft down.
Wow.
Then I got an editor to help me, like, I paid an editor to help me, like, really start chiseling and making it,
Yes.
kind of like cutting away a piece of clay, making it
Right.
into a sculpture with an arc of a story. Then I finally had something to present to my publisher and pitch my publisher and what have you. But here's the funny thing: even once I sold my book, the first book to Simon and Schuster, big publishing house, sold my book, got my advance. We started the whole publishing process. Even after that, I thought I had my book ready. Literally, I had to, and I presented them a manuscript. They said, in a nutshell, nah, we need something different. I had to literally rewrite an entire book in 3 months. So
Wow.
I would say don't get too attached to
Mm,
what you're writing.
I see.
If anything, what I have found 2 occasions now that your book has a soul of its own.
Amen. I
And
agree.
your job as the vehicle, as the author, is when you realize you are not writing the book.
Mm-hmm.
You are the one that is really in service to the message that is the book
Mm-hmm.
itself. And the
Mm-hmm.
book gives its own energy, and you are here to serve the message of this book and let that
Mm-hmm.
come through you. And the more you do that, the more the authentic nature of what the book is and the messages will come through you that might surprise you. My first book was nothing like I thought it was going to be when I started. Nothing,
Wow. That's
nothing. I mean, it,
amazing.
it has some stories and some ideas, but the actual way it's written and the kind of
Wow.
through line was nothing. And so I think when we can live that way, then we live open. So I had to basically, even in the writing process, surrender to what was
Yes.
seeking to being written. And
Wow, this goes full circle to what we were talking about
yeah,
in the beginning, right? Of
yeah,
that
yeah.
that surrender and that allowing and
And then, but I would also say, as a writer, make sure be consistent and do every day.
yes, do it every day. I know.
Be
I have
consistent.
learned that. Yeah, do it every
Be
day.
consistent. Do every day,
Yeah,
and just get it out.
get it
Get
out.
it. Get it.
Absolutely.
When you have it there, then it's like, oh, okay, it's out there. That's the hardest part. And many times when I thought I was writing stuff or speaking stuff, I would think, this is terrible. This is not that. Then I would come back a month later and read it and go, ah, it's not bad. You know,
You know, yes, yes.
it's
I'm
not so
I'm kind
bad.
of laughing at myself because you talked about like, oh, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have this amazing place to write. Next weekend, I totally booked myself like 4 days at this beautiful hotel, and I'm like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna write, and
Hey,
I'm like, I'm laughing,
you might have a most epic writing experience.
I'll keep you updated. We'll see. Oh, so what is your new book about that you
My new
did?
book is I'm not revealing it yet, but it comes out.
Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna come back. We'll come back in maybe
yes.
April. Let's do another interview all
Let's
about the
do
new book. But it
it.
comes out May the 4th.
Okay.
I'm very, very, very. This was the book I was born to write. Let's just say that.
Ooh,
It was the book I was born to write, and
beautiful.
based on 2020, I think it's literally the perfect book for these times. That I could not have planned the
Wow.
concept of this book. So have me back, and I'll
I
talk about it.
will. That gave me goosebumps. I'm excited to read it.
Yeah.
I read about a book every 3 days, so I'm an avid
Wow.
reader. Yeah,
Well,
so
wow.
so
Yeah.
yes, I'm ordering You Are the One. That's on it's on Amazon right now, so I'm gonna
Done.
get it.
Done.
Yeah. And how else, if people want to connect with you, I know you have a podcast as well,
Yeah, I
right?
have a podcast. It's called Soul Talk, and that's weekly, where I have a guest on that, and then I share inspiration as well each week. If people want to connect with me, Instagram, Facebook,
Mm,
my website is kuteblackson.com. Twice a year, we postponed 2020, but next year in June, July, and December, twice a year, I do a deep dive 12-day event in Bali, Indonesia. That's really
amazing.
about helping people transform and kind of peel away layers
Wow.
of conditioning and help people connect to who they really are. And that's in Bali. And so that's www.boundlessblissbali.com. Uh, Also, if people want to receive I think it's a three-part video series, they can go to activatingabundanceonline.com and get 3 free videos.
Amazing. And
Yeah, so
you're
we
on
can connect there.
Instagram as well, right? I know you are.
I'm on it. Is anyone not on Instagram?
Who isn't on Instagram? Good question.
If you're not on Instagram, you're not really living.
Yes, and it's just your name on there on IG.
Just my name. People can
So,
find me there, and I'm
yeah,
constantly just putting out
Kute Blackson.
Blackson. Yeah,
Yeah. And
Blackson.
you have amazing content on there too.
Yeah,
So,
just sharing love with
yeah,
people.
you're just on fire.
Yeah, for me, it's I've always felt from a very young age a deep calling to
Yes.
serve people, and so for me,
Mm,
when I started coaching people 17 years ago, it wasn't about making money. It was before social media. I was
yes.
just literally a baby,
To
and
help people.
I wanted to just help people, and I was doing
Mm,
it for free in the beginning, and just I didn't care, And so for me,
absolutely.
look, I was a kid who we lived behind my father's church, and we didn't have a lot of money, so I would sneak into my father's church at night after I did my homework. And I would speak to the empty, what people don't know, I would speak to the empty chairs, thousands of chairs in the darkness,
Mm,
giving seminars. So for me, serving people, helping people transform, helping people reconnect to their truth is my passion. It's my calling. It's part of really why I'm alive. And so this
it's
is a love for me.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I can so relate, like 8-year-old Morgan was on the playground with like one other person trying to like talk to them about their life and
There you go.
everybody else is playing and I'm like, "No, let me help you," So from a very young age I have felt that same way and it is such a blessing to have this path, because I think for me the happiness that you get out of helping others, it's just beyond anything else. It
Yeah,
totally lights me up.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's everything. I think, at a certain stage of life, the first many times when we start life, we grow up and it becomes about me. It becomes about what can I get? It becomes about
Mm,
what can I accomplish? What can I achieve? What can I do? But at a certain point of one's evolution, you start realizing you can get everything you want. But often the things that you thought you wanted aren't really what you want. And even
yes.
if you get everything you want, the car you want, the house you want, the girl or the guy you want, the vacations you want, I mean, you can get everything you want. But at a certain point, what I have found is no matter how much you get, you reach a point of dissatisfaction. And I think
Yes.
true fulfillment in life really happens when your life moves from a self centered, me centered focus
Mhm.
to a focus on others, to a focus on
Yes.
how can I serve. I mean, ultimately, you start
How can I
realizing that
serve?
the other is myself, and myself
Yes.
is the other, and there really is no separation. And
Yes.
and and so then it becomes about really how can I be of service? Because when
Mhm.
we're really being of service, our focus is off of ourselves. And when our focus is off of ourselves, it's on serving others. We're not kind of self-contracted in our own
Mm,
selfing ego-ness. And many times we're
exactly.
constantly suffering because we're thinking about me and my feeling and my this and my that and my that and my feeling and my emotion and
Yes.
my sadness versus, wait a second. You can't, for instance, if you go to the grocery store, people are wondering, well, how can I make a difference? Just go out and smile at someone. Because when you
Yes.
are actually smiling at someone, right, that is being of service. But when you're smiling at someone, you can't be depressed. You can't be sad. You can't be like, with the
Mhm.
moment you're smiling at someone, you're often not thinking about yourself. And so when we're not just thinking about myself, our heart opens, our heart expands.
Mhm.
We start to transcend. And I think that's the blessing. So I think there comes a moment where the real success in life is not what you can get, is what you can give.
What
And
you can
and,
give.
and giving your gifts, really giving your gifts to those
Yes.
around you.
Tune into that authentic version of you, of what
Yeah,
really, gets your soul on fire, like what really feeds your soul, and then
exactly.
get into that energy of giving.
Exactly.
And then what people don't realize is everything comes to you naturally when you're in that state. There's no more
Exactly.
like try, 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 try.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I am just so happy that you came on the podcast and,
Thanks for having me.
gave us your energy. You are an incredible guest, and we'll absolutely have you back when your
Let's
new
do it
book is
in
coming
maybe
out.
maybe April, beginning of April. Let's do
Yes.
it again.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm excited.
Sounds good.
Um, and one last thing, just real quick. If I ask all my guests this question, okay. So if you were walking down the street and you ran into somebody randomly and they just ask you, hey, what is your best life advice right now? And
That's
you have to say it in like one sentence. And it doesn't have to be like all time forever, but currently,
currently I would just
say,
say, hey, you are gonna die.
ooh, that's so powerful.
You are going to die. Is this how
Whoa.
you is this how you want to die? If you knew the date and time of your death, and God said, this is your date and this is the time, would that shift how you're living your life?
Whoa, you are transforming that person on the sidewalk.
You
They
feel
are
that?
like,
Because sometimes
yeah.
we're so living automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have another, like we're assuming we got another 40 years. And the fact is, none of us know
Mm,
when that moment's going to come. So I'm
mm.
not saying it as a morbid thing. I'm saying it as a wake up call to say,
A wake up call.
let's wake up to this moment. Let's not be asleep. Let's not be unconscious because every second is precious. We don't have time to waste. When we die, we can't go to God and say, can I get a refund for those 3 years in that relationship that I hated? So, what would we need to do to live without any regrets? It sounds simple, yet many times we kind of walk through life.
Mm.
Another day, another day. Oh, I can change this next year. We don't have next year. We
You're
have this
right.
moment.
Wow, leaving the audience with tough love, but that really comes from a place of love.
Love. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I appreciate it. Very powerful. That
Sending
that
love.
might be the most tough love answer anyone has given so far. You get the award for that. Well, thank you so much, and we will have you on again in
Let's do
April.
it. Thank
All
you for
right.
having me.
Take care. And to the audience, as always, I'm wishing you high self worth and great relationships. We'll talk with you soon.